Hello, everyone. Welcome to Riga and day 2 of the ISU Junior Grand Prix, a city of just over 500,000 in the capital of Latvia. I'm Ted Barton along with Mark Hanruddy, and our second day of competition. Up first will be the rhythm dance. Mark, what's changed since last year?
Well, this year, the Ice Dance Technical Committee have elected that the music chosen must be from the 1990s, and the skaters have to perform with the essence and feeling of the 1990s. Within the rhythm dance, they also have to perform a sequence of the quick step and the rumba, and those dances were first performed back in 1938. So some very old, some a little bit old, but lots of new skaters, and I can't wait to see how they interpret.
Now, it's early in the season. Do you see any favorites coming into this event here?
I can't say that there's a definitive standout team, but that's what makes it all the more exciting. So just eager to see what takes place.
It's going to be great competition. The first one on day number 2. 16 teams from 13 nations. The rhythm dance starts right now. Welcome, everyone, to Day 2 coverage of the ISU Junior Grand Prix 2025-2026 season. I'm Ted Barton along with Mark Hanruddy as we take a pull-back flyover drone shot of the Volvo Ice Center here in Riga. Mark, it's your day. This is your special day, the special morning. It's ice dancing, and you're jacked up for that.
I think I'm going to reincarnate more as a pair skater because I feel like there's a mounting level of expectation and pressure on my ice dance knowledge. Yes, it is Ice Dance Day, the start of the rhythm dance. The ice dancers have been here, they've had extra practice days, and now we get to see this season's rhythm dance. And so, as I mentioned in the opening, the requirements for the rhythm dance season 2025-2026 are for music, dance styles, and feeling of the 1990s. The rhythm dance for the 2025-2026 season takes inspiration from the high energy and entertaining dance styles from this decade, and that will be officiated by the names on the screen now, who are going to decide how the skaters will receive their different components, grades of execution, and there at the bottom are the technical panel. And as those of you that joined us yesterday will know, we have the privilege of being able to hear a little bit from the technical panel throughout the performances, and so we will be able to give you a little bit of an insight or further insight into the analysis that they give on the levels of the skaters in this event.
Yeah, and let's dive a little bit deeper into that concept. Of course, the Vision 2030, which is a big initiative of the ISU, have been announced for a number of years now, and we've seen a lot of talk and a lot of ideas that are on the table, and it's going to be really exciting what happens after the Olympic Games. Nothing will really change before that, but we're looking at this is the first time ever that commentators, or at least ISU commentators here, have access to the technical panel. So that's really exciting in itself, and the reason that we have that is because we analyze it, of course, but we also want the audience to understand that what the process is, and they'll look a little bit down the line, the ISU that is, as to how they may integrate what the technical panel does, and would they ever give access to other television to the people that want to hear the call during the performance or whatever the case may be. So we're just sort of starting to find out, well, how do we use that information? I've been on the technical panel for many years, of course, as we built the system. It's incredible what they do. It's so precise, it's so professional, it's so well done, and I want the world to see that. That's what I personally would like to see. The ISU is sort of experimenting on this. We have the first access to this. I'll be listening during the dance. You'll be doing the covering of all this, and I'm going to listen to the technical panel, and anything that I can bring up from what I'm hearing on that, I'll bring into the broadcast.
And I think it's important for us to acknowledge then in this new development whereby we have more insight into what is being said by the panel on site, in location, that we just give gratitude and thanks to those technical panel members, because we're now on to the 4th discipline of 4 in Riga, and all of the technical panel members have been open to us listening in. Such is their comfort in knowing that they're working by the book. There's no need to hide.
No, their process is so professional, and you would hear that when that gets opened up. It's really remarkable and a great joy. Now, another topic within the 2030 vision is artificial intelligence, of course, and how can that be applied to the sport of skating? We know that, for instance, on the under rotations and jumps, that will be a great asset. They're working already with the Swiss timing team, and maybe after the Olympic Games, and sometimes there may be some testing on this, but certainly AI has a place in our sport. Not to do everything, that's for sure. This is human judge. It's it has some subjectivity to it, particularly in the performance aspect of the sport. But there are definitely some measurable things which would be a great asset.
And it would be really fascinating to consider how could AI check levels for the ice dance category. So we've referenced the potential input of AI into perhaps jump landings for the single skaters and checking rotation, and the analysis of that. Could AI be used to define clean turns within a step sequence for the dancers? Could AI be used to check twizzle rotation for the twizzle sequence? It's so exciting to consider. Where will this go? Where can it go?
Well, that's the thing is, we've asked for permission to talk about these things, and we are, and so people out there listening might be go, yeah, well, they could do this, well, they could do that, well, they shouldn't do this, we should do that. It's an open window, and right now the point is the effort is being made to try to understand the tools that exist with technology that can assist in those things that are really difficult to assess technically in our sport. So, it's the right thing to do to find out how it can help. Same thing with the tech panel project that we're working on. And we're very lucky because we're kind of the research and development part of the ISU here in the Junior Grand Prix. So there's an update, folks, and we'll see what we can bring to the table while we listen to the technical panel throughout today and through the whole Junior Grand Prix series. So there you go.
And I think, Ted,
you can send your questions in, by the way, too.
Oh, yes, please do. Please do send us in any questions that you want us to have a look at. I think just on the back of the developments that are very definitely underway for the Vision 2030, I know that having spent all of my life in ice skating, that there's a lot of people that can be very staunch in their opinions and staunch in their views and feel, I've often heard, say as an example, when figures were removed from the competitive arena, that people were very dismayed at how something that had been a part of the sport could go, and people would be very frustrated about it. Or then when compulsory dances were taken out of the ice dance competition, now new changes will happen, but for me, especially because we have a little insight into the reason and rationale behind it, it's all very much for this future of the sport.
And it's important to say, well, because we're starting the event here, is you can't get better by staying the same. So people have to understand how we can change and make it more interesting for the fans. Here we go. The rhythm dance, day number 2. Our first team represents Israel, Maria Nekhaeva and Dmitry Kravchenko, 20 and 19 years of age, first Junior Grand Prix season together.
And this team has been training together for just 4 months. We wish them all the very best as they skate to Get Ready, and You Can't Touch This. Maria Nekhaeva and Dmitry Kravchenko representing Israel. Such a shame that there was that fall towards the final few seconds of the program. That said, we have to admire what this couple have achieved in just 4 months. It's kind of mind-blowing that they've been able to not just partner up but get choreography, costumes, music chosen in that very, very short space of time.
Yeah, it's such a great opportunity to gain experience in such a short period of time. So important as they move along their journey.
And I think as they open the rhythm dance competition on the first stage of the Junior Grand Prix this year, it's interesting to just see the reaction of the 1990s music choice. We're in a room full of people now moving and bopping along to the track of choice, and I think that is indication of the good choice from the ISU Ice Dance Technical Committee for 1990s for the Olympic season, getting people engaged as we look at the twizzles. Safely through there. And here we see the rumba sequence. So as I said in the opening, this was a dance that was first performed by the inventor Walter Gregory in London in 1938. Now, Walter Gregory never knew that he would be having his dance performed with that kind of music.
And Mark, interesting, I was just listening to the technical panel, they talked about the fall. Where was that fall? It was on the exit. So they had the elements there. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So obviously Ted's just listening in and getting insight, because should the fall have happened on the lift, there would have been a whole lot more ramifications on the grade of execution of the lift. And this rotational lift, the short lift of choice for Maria and Dmitry, and there could be the case that she was going for the difficult exit feature of it, but it won't. Actually, it's interesting because it is having a consequential impact, I think, on the grade of execution of the rotational lift.
Well, that was really interesting to listen to the process. You clearly heard that. They had a discussion about that. Was it in it, out it? No, they decided as a panel that it was on the exit.
Yeah, that would have been the feature exit. Yeah. And Pasquale Carmalengo joins them in the kiss and cry. He working with them alongside Galice, Morachi. And as I say, just it's somewhat mind-blowing to me that they've been able to achieve what they've achieved in this short space of time. Disappointment, of course, with that mistake, but bigger picture, really impressive.
Well, 40.54, first team out for Maria and Dmitry. And just that unfortunate fall on the exit of their final element. Rotational lift. Our next team represents Belgium. Nekhaeva Mulders and Robbie De Vos. She is 19, he is 16. Just one competition in 2025. First time on the Junior Grand Prix.
And this couple, much like the opening team, together for a very short space of time, teamed up in just December of last year. Belgium's Meta van Mulder and Robert de Vos complete their rhythm dance. Britney Spears makes it into the ice dance world in the 2025 season.
Took a while.
And great to see some of the transitional content that this team used. It wasn't necessarily an easy program, despite the fact that they've been together for just 9 months, less than a season together. And indeed, it hasn't been long that Robbie at least has been an ice dancer, having moved from single skating to this discipline. And furthermore, Ted, this team, they train in the Netherlands and they have a daily commute from Belgium to Dordrecht. And they spend a lot of the day in the car. Meta said that she spends 4 to 6 hours in the car every day for training. Such commitment from such a young skater. And here, interesting to see this choice of feature in the twizzles. And actually this season it's less difficult to have that called. The degree of depth of the knee on the standing leg isn't quite as intense as it used to be, and perhaps that's why we'll see more of that choice of feature throughout the season as we look now at the rumba.
Interesting to listen to the technical panel. Only one replay, and that was on the twizzles. And then the technical controller was verifying a couple of their calls to make sure she had written that down correctly. So really good communication, short reviews, of course. So that was really efficient.
Yeah, the team are great. And here we see rotation left is a difficult exit as a feature, and that this team's most successful element with a level 4 awarded to the rotation left with a positive grade of execution. That not the case for the other 4 of the 5 elements, as we see Maxim Nikitin joining them in the kiss and cry. As Belgium is given its airtime on the jacket of Maita.
Well, there is a 39.36. That'll put this team currently into second place. Young team, just gaining experience and all sort of new for them.
And still a sense of identity, and already they weren't shy in their choice.
Our next team represents Poland, Laura Balcerska and David Diadchenko, 16 and 18 years of age, Poland junior silver medalist.
This team have been together just for a little over a year. David had ankle surgery though in March, and he's worked incredibly hard on his rehab to be ready now to compete on this first stage of the Junior Grand Prix 2025. Poland's Lara Balcerska and David Diadchenko. Spice Girls this time. This, when I was checking in with the skaters or the coaches, this seemed great celebration for the 1990s as the music choice. And now, again, it's just really interesting for me thinking of the reaction of an audience, and particularly as we head towards the Olympics for the seniors. Hopefully it will, I expect and believe, engage a whole host of fans for our sport. And Lara and David in their first junior Grand Prix together, and good to see the connection and support of one another towards the end of what was a clean skate as they head towards Sylvia Novak-Trabaka, who's just so supportive of her teams. And she said that this year they've worked with the Michigan Ice Dance Academy and particularly Charlie White for all of the teams that Sylvia and Maxim train, and what an inspiration he has been as we look back at the Twizzles. And in the rhythm dance, just one step allowed between the first and the second Twizzles. Being close is good. That was a little perilously close as we look back at the Rumba. And here is Choctaw step for both. That's a key point for both, and it's incredibly difficult to be deemed fully clean. Forward inside edge on the left, right back outside edge. Really tricky step to be called, and we can see that so far I don't think we've had any higher than a level 1 on either of the compulsory dance elements of the teams that have taken part. This, the midline step, skaters given the opportunity to stop within that as we see rotational lift. And I've referenced just now about the compulsory dance or the pattern dance section of this rhythm dance. Hard to get high level on that. However, the rotational lift that we've seen from all the teams, more prone to getting the maximum level 4.
Oh, it's so interesting to listen to the technical panel work. It's so efficient. I wish people could hear it. Like, it really is amazing. It's,
fantastic.
Yeah, it's a sort of a hidden part of our sport that people haven't had the access to, and we'll be pretty amazed when they do listen to it. Let's take a look at the scores. 40.90 for Laura and David, and that'll put this team currently into first place. Nice job.
Well, there's an appreciative student of their coach. That's nice to see. And a partner.
There you go. Our next team represents the United States of America, Michelle Deych and Ryan Hugh. Michelle is 18, Ryan 17, second junior Grand Prix season 1 year ago. Here in Riga, they placed 10th, and they were 4th at the U.S. Nationals in junior dance. They're coached by Igor Spielban and Pasquale Carmelenko.
And Michelle and Ryan will be the first of many, I think, this season using Ricky Martin as the track for the rhythm dance. gosh. Michelle and Ryan, both 17 years of age, but demonstrating a maturity and professionalism that is beyond their years in the way that they are now conducting themselves, because the fall and the mistake in the Twizzles was pretty terrifying. And now it just shows how amazing these athletes are, that they are now leaving the ice with just a maturity that, you just want to curl up and hide after that
was potentially dangerous, and thank God the boot hit the shoulder, not the blade.
And the way in which they continued, I think if you were to join from the step sequence onwards, you would not have known. And here we see their rumba, and at this point in time you can see a measurably stronger team than that of which we've seen thus far in the event. You can see... Oh, I don't want to see it again. Oh my gosh, no. Oh, that could... I have very little words. I mean, they were going for a difficult entry, but the risk versus reward obviously didn't pay off on this occasion. And here, though, as we look at what was taking place beyond that torrid mistake, you would not know. As they work through the difficult turns and then into the rotational lift. This is where, we saw their parents within a half an hour ago in the cafe here, and they were nervous and anxious. And to everybody involved in this team, this event is a huge deal. You're representing America. You're at a Junior Grand Prix. It's an illustrious stage. This is huge for the team and the families, but this is not going to define them negatively. This, as you say so often, Ted, has the potential to help carve progression for the team in what they learn from it.
Well, you never planned that, and you never want it. But you need it. You need those things to happen. I mean, it's horrible to say it that way, but it gives you all sorts of understanding of what can go wrong at the moment that you least expect it. And then you prepare a little bit better, and you're aware, a lot more aware, for later on in your journey.
And I think the good thing seeing Pasquale here is Pasquale, he I think was 5th at Olympic Games himself. He's probably had experiences like this, and he's coached numerous other teams who will have been through such uncomfortable experiences as well. So they're in the hands of a man who will know how to guide them through this frustration.
Absolutely. 44.67, and that, even so, will put the team in first place because of the other qualities. And it was so interesting listening to the technical panel as they analyzed the Twizzles themselves. Yeah, it's sort of like, oh my gosh,
they can't work with what they've got.
Yeah, and you really you just want to hear it because it's so incredibly detailed, and the discussion is so brief but clear.
And this is
great job with the technical panel.
Yeah, and what's important for us to acknowledge is that the technical panels often will have to work much harder in an event where there are more mistakes like this. If a technical panel is working on the senior event, I can't say it's easier necessarily, but there's less unpredictability.
I think you can say it's easier. I don't mean skating's easier.
No.
But the fact is the skating is better.
Yes.
And so there's less quality issues, there's less mistakes, there's less things to work on. That's why you see the juniors take a little bit more time. There are more replays. Although I must say, there haven't been a lot of calls, a lot of replays so far in this event. But
And the technical panel here, as we look at the next group of skaters onto the ice, they then have to be so mindful of the rules. And you've seen, Ted, here, I've got my squillions of ISU communications pertaining. And the ice dance one in particular, there's screeds and screeds of information. And the technical panel need to know exactly what to do in an instance like that. Is there anything they can work with the team? Can they give them a base level Twizzles? Can they squeak it at level 1? On this occasion,
they were trying to check for the man on the Twizzle, did he get that extra turn? Did he get enough of it? So they were working to get them it if it was there, right? So, and listening to that, it's just really fascinating. This is very cool.
And that is where, you so brilliantly point out, Ted, that this is developmental work. For the team, Ryan, in that instance, you could consider that he should have got up and just whacked in a Twizzle the other direction and got something on the scoreboard for that element. But then from a humane perspective, he's just inadvertently, unconsciously and unwillingly whacked his partner in the back of her head. He's not going to go off and do a Twizzle on his own.
Well, who's prepared for moments like that? You're not.
No.
Now they will be, right? Because they had that experience. So that's why those bad experiences give you the type of experience you need moving forward. But, wow. Lots of action so far. Any questions coming in there, Mark? Or you're exhausted already, aren't you?
Why is it the ice dance is so draining emotionally? You just go on a roller coaster with them.
You only just learned that, eh?
I know, gosh. Ugh. haven't had any questions coming through, but that's an opportunity for us just to open up the forum to those that are watching, just to please do send in any questions that you may have. We would love to hear from those that are watching.
And let's ask the question, would you be interested to hear the technical panel, or have the choice to say, well, let's listen to the technical panel in this one, or have just, a spattering of access points, right? Because it's very cool.
Yeah, and I think, I'm talking about the communications for the ice dancers. So there are rules and there are regulations that all of these the coaches, at very least, will know all of them. The skaters perhaps will be shown these detailed criteria that they have to work towards, but it's one thing reading off paper, it's another thing hearing the interpretation of it from the technical panel.
Yeah, exactly. You can read all you want, but when you start to hear the analysis and how professionally it's done, it's really very, very cool. So you got lots of energy now. You're dragging a little bit at the beginning, not on the broadcast, but a little earlier. But you can dance and you're juiced up there.
Yeah, and we've just got to acknowledge that the days are long, but the skaters giving us the energy that they've got gives us the energy that we need to warble and blabber and babble and yabble.
And we do a good job at that. Babbling.
I have to just make point early on in this Junior Grand Prix series, and indeed the 2025-2026 series, about this 1990s rhythm dance. So the music examples that the ISU and the Ice Dance Technical Committee offered were those that had pop or street, Latin, house or techno, hip-hop or grunge rock. What the skaters choose to use, that's their call, but there are some criteria. So it has to have high energy and be crowd-pleasing and demonstrate an essence of the 1990s. But what also must be evident for the juniors is the tempo of the music. So for them, because they have pattern dance elements, they then need to pick music that has a minimum of 120 beats per minute. Now, without wanting to go down, well, no, I'm going to go down the rabbit hole.
You're halfway down.
I'm already down, so I'm going to crawl even lower. But the rumba sequence that the skaters have to perform within the context of the rhythm dance and the quick step are, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, compulsory dances that were created almost 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. And they had the steps that the skaters are now performing. And they were about to go in for their quick step. These are steps that had a defined number of beats of music, and that was the case for the duration, the entirety of these dances. Now, the skaters have to have a minimum of 120 beats per minute. However, the quick step previously was normally 112 beats per minute, but the rumba was at 176 beats per minute. So what's had to happen is that the rumba steps are now given a different timing to that which they were previously given. So if you've got an ardent ice dance fan that's known the sport for decades and watching, they might think, they're out of time. Actually, it's been tweaked.
Mark, my brain hurts.
I know, but
that was...
Sorry, folks.
No, that's all right. That's awesome. That's well done. Our next team represents Germany. They're twins, Nico and Zara Kobor from Germany.
And this team were still advanced novice age last year when they first competed on the junior stage, but now full juniors with high ambitions of trying to secure a junior world championship spot in the future this season. Eniko and Zohar Kobor from Germany complete their rhythm dance. And it's going to be a popular choice of music this season. We will see it done by others. But you can see again, as we've seen already today, challenging situations happening within the twizzles, and further confirmation of the complexity and difficulty of this discipline in our sport, that it's not risk-free or fall-free like it perhaps used to be. As we just take a look back at the opening, setting the scene, and here working through the difficult turns within their step sequence, the non-touch. Here, right forward outside rocker. And here, the twizzle, so the constantly moving arms is a level, the leg feature a level, and now staying on one foot, their Group C level feature, so difficult to do, and you can see rocking up and back on the blade for Eniko there. And now the technical panel will assess how much was completed before that mistake to ascertain the level. Unlike the American team that we saw who didn't achieve a second twizzle, Eniko does manage to, despite the fall, achieve a level 2 in the twizzles, but the judge is forced to give a -5 grade of execution. So lots of points lost on that element for the team. So frustrating. But somewhat to be expected as the team continues to push themselves and demand more. As you hear the chuckle of Ted suggesting that you've been amused by the listening to the...
I was listening to you and them at the same time, the technical panel. So interesting because we were actually talking about the same elements.
Okay, good.
They talked a lot about retrogression and the turns within the retrogression. So they were doing an analysis within that.
Okay. So
so explain that.
Retrogression is allowed in the step sequence. So they have it was a diagonal step sequence of choice for this team. There is a slight retrogression allowed for the difficult turns, but teams aren't meant to retrogress too much. There's an element of wiggle room, but perhaps that was deviated too much by Eniko and Zohar within their opening diagonal step sequence.
There you go. There's a good explanation.
And actually, it's interesting. We've had questions coming in about how long it takes to read these criteria and these rules, and I think you could pore over them endlessly just to amass the confidence of knowing in these situations like this how each couple needs to be interpreted by the rules. And you can see now here for Eniko, so deflated.
Disappointment. 44.11 for Eniko and Zohar, and that'll put them currently into second place. Our next team represents France, Lou Koch and Luca Chataignoux, 18 and 20 years of age, the new team this season.
And this team, their coach Karine Aribert described as a team with an impressive dance maturity and very strong unison, despite the fact that they've just teamed up. Louis Koch and Lucas Chataignoux from France. And I'm tempted now to head, like you, to be listening into the technical panel just to hear the analysis of the key points within the pattern dance elements for the team of Lou and Lucas, just to see whether or not they're going to achieve that extra key point and the consequential value boost that could give them. But no doubting that this team have delivered the strongest of the performances of all of the teams that we have seen thus far in the rhythm dance. 5 teams already competed, and this will sail into the lead. And new team perhaps, but fundamentally strong individually, and the combination of this new partnership secures better skating skills. As we look at the rumba, and here you can see change of hold. The teams are allowed this year to deviate on the hold, just cannot be hand to hand. These steps were originally done always in Killian hold, a prescribed dance hold, but now the teams can choose to deviate from that to be able to interpret better the 1990s rhythm. The Killian hold is a little bit more formal. As we look at the twizzles, and you can see here the school that they come from, the features chosen and the speed in which they rotate, reminiscent of that of the other teams that we've seen from the same coaching staff from Villard-de-Lans. Good speed. And here, back inside counter, one of the difficult turns within their non-touch step sequence. Interesting to look at whether or not there's any retrogression. Not seeing that here as we see the outside mohawk. And then opportunity now to interpret and showcase some 1990s energy. And that's something that the Ice Dance Technical Committee are very eager to portray, that the teams showcase a difference in the style of the rhythm dance to the free dance. Right, Ted, what did you hear?
Some pretty cool stuff, but I can't remember it all. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was great. No, one of my thoughts was, because I was always talking about 70s, because that was my era, and how awful the costumes and everything was, right? And then we watched the 80s and then the 90s here. We're going, yeah, that was pretty modern in those days, but you look back now. The technical panel's so interesting. And hopefully you'll get to hear that in the future. 54.48 for Lou and Lucas. And that'll put them currently into first place. But it's interesting actually to hear you and them at the same time.
Oh gosh, hopefully it's singing from the same hymn sheet. They're certainly right. They'll be right.
Not even close. No, I'm just kidding. Here we go. Our next team, representing Ukraine, Tatiana Bielodonova and Ivan Kachur. 14 and 18 years of age, first Junior Grand Prix season.
Tatiana and Ivan have been competing together since 2022 when they teamed up. The Ukrainian junior champions, and they're very grateful to be a part of this Junior Grand Prix. Well, wonderful to hear the reaction and the support in the audience for Tatiana Bielodonova and Ivan Kachur from Ukraine. And they were very eager and proud to tell me that they trained full-time in their hometown of Odessa. And what a brilliant job they and the team have done. And some great choice of choreo within the non-touch step sequence, the back split slide, and also the rotational lift. Difficult and risky choice of features to secure the level 4, which they've comfortably attained from the technical panel without review. Good to see that respect as the British team come onto the ice, wishing each other congratulations and good luck. And here the leg feature grab of the blade, right forward outside edge, the entry edge of the first and second twizzle must be different. And here, look at the rumble. So this is the key point, the Choctaw. There must be a blade's length of distance in the placement of the foot down on the Choctaw. And I do believe that the technical panel awarded both Tatiana and Ivan the key point there. And a level 3 had been awarded on this step sequence for Tatiana. And that will be dependent upon the number of clean turns that she achieves. And here, a stop allowed. It can be up to 5 seconds in length within that element. And ooh, that's a scary choice of feature. And well done, braver than I am.
Good energy.
Yeah, great energy. And equal commitment to the performance, I feel, from Tatiana and Ivan. Great to see them shaping hearts in the kiss and cry. And there, Ukraine very proudly showcased on their jackets.
Here are the scores for the rhythm dance. 51.03 for Tatiana and Ivan. And that'll put them currently into second place. And there's a look at the top 5 on the leaderboard. Final team in group number 2, just before the ice resurfacing, 16-year-old Ashley Slatter and 20-year-old Lewis Gregory from Great Britain. This new team in 2025, so at this point, no real competitive record. The coach and choreographed by Philippa Teller-Green.
just amazing for me, because I know the backstory of this team, who have formed so recently that they have gone out and delivered a performance like that. Ashley has had so much experience with her former partner, but Lewis has come into not just a new partnership, but the ice dance education within months, and the way in which they've collaborated and teamed up. When it's tricky for somebody who's got so much experience with somebody who has none to then work together, and the connection that they've got now, the hug shared, is just a real testament to finding a common ground in communication and respect for one another when you bring to the table very different educational experiences. And so real respect to the team and the team around them that have allowed them to get ready and prep for this event. And here we see them working through the twizzles, and you can see Ashley constantly eye-checking Lewis as well. And here, even just the concept of a rotational lift for somebody who has been a single skater for their entire skating career. Really challenging, but what's also really great to acknowledge here is the communication within the British ice skating community to facilitate this partnership. Louis was taught by John Wicker, a free skating coach, in his free skating education, and John recommended, upon finding out that Ashley was available for a new partnership, the consideration of Louis for ice dance. And indeed, it's worked out really well that Louis' former free skating coach happens to be at this event with the men's singles representative, Edward Soloviev. And so now Louis here with his new coaching staff, Candice Taylor-Green on this occasion, and his old free skating coach is at the event as well. So great teamwork, and nice for John to be a part of this initial international experience for his former student.
It looks like he's actually really enjoying his whole
I saw him off the ice, and I was, are you okay? You okay? And he seems super chilled.
Yeah.
So, great character.
Well, when you have that much laughter and fun and smiles in the kiss and cry, there's been a good experience there.
Yeah.
No matter what the result here.
We've often talked about how, negative experiences can be educational, but there's also the quote that what you learn with pleasure, you don't forget. So
yeah, true.
Whether or not they'll learn from it, they'll remember, hopefully, this
Well,
positive
they're going to want
experience.
to have that feeling again. I
Yes.
mean, that's when you have that exhilaration, you want to chase that. So what do you have to do to get that again? Let's take a look at the scores in the rhythm dance for Ashley and Lewis at 49.11. And that'll put this team currently into third place. We're thrilled with the dance, happy with the scores. Great start for this team. That concludes the second group here in the rhythm dance, and as we've been talking about, listening to the technical panel, bringing some of that information into the broadcast here. It's really exciting initiative by the ISU, and I think there will be much more to come and to seeing the best way to do it. So we're really interested in the fans out there. Now, you've heard it obviously directly, you're hearing it through us for a little bit, but whether you think you'd like to be able to, perhaps on a different channel, would you like to be able to access, let me listen to this team of the technical panel and see what the process is here. So let us know your thoughts, and we'll be back. We're going to take a short break, come back with the second or third group in the first event on day two. A lot of numbers here. On day 2 here in Riga. We'll be back. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone, to the first event on day 2 here in Riga. I'm Ted Barton, along with Mark Hanratty, the rhythm dance group number 3 on the ice. Mark?
Yes, and thank you to those that have sent in questions to us on the International Skating Union social media. Questions that have come in are one from Ren Skara. What are the required features to achieve maximum level in the ice dance sequence in both rhythm dance and free dance?
Yeah, wait, I got that.
Oh.
It's your... You take it now.
You got the answer?
Yeah.
Ask Mark.
Yeah, ask Mark. Let's go.
So the ice dancers, when they're doing in the rhythm dance, they have a non-touch step sequence, and that can only be a midline or a diagonal shape. And within that step sequence, the couples will be working on some difficult turns, so specific turns with the blade that are deemed to be difficult. If the technical panel watching think that one of the turns is cleanly done, then they'll have a level 1. Then to get a level 2, though, they need 3 difficult turns done cleanly. For a level 3, they need 4 difficult turns deemed to be clean. And then for the maximum level 4 in a step sequence, they would need 5 clean turns. And so we can talk about that on the slow-mo replays, that when the skaters are doing these difficult turns, now for the athletes that are in this sport and the skaters, they will know the terms rockers, counters, brackets, choctaws, and outside mohawks. But if you're new to the sport, that might mean nothing to you, but it's a certain combination of edges and directions of rotation which are tricky, and the skaters have to deliver them with such deep, clean, clear edges that they would then get points awarded.
Yeah, it's really interesting to listen to the technical panel analyze that. Yes for the woman, no for the man, or whatever the case may be. Got it. So, that analysis is so deep and so focused by the technical panel. I know we do it, but, we've got a lot of other replays coming on, right? So...
Actually, it's interesting here as we look at the American team. There's a difficult turn, a rocker.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's another team doing a counter turn.
Yeah.
And then the outside closed mohawk there. So these are all potential enhancements of their level, but that's then dependent upon the work or the analysis of the technical panel whether or not they'll get the points done for them. So here they're going for twizzle, and that's a little bit easier to call. It's more often that the teams will get that one done.
Does twizzle require a
Twizzle!
higher pitch voice? Yeah, okay.
Twizzle!
We got it.
It's got to be done.
I know what it is. Jeez. Now I know it's a twizzle.
If I raise my voice. And what you'll be glad to know about is that the technical panels do not... I don't think they'd be allowed on a technical panel if they spoke like I do.
Not even close.
Not so much.
They're like the control tower in an airport. They're no emotion whatsoever. It's just fact. It's just data.
And that's really interesting because we're referencing so much that we have the opportunity to hear them. That's really interesting because these are people that have grown up in the sport. So you've quite often got creative or charismatic people.
No, but the training of this, you don't pass that exam unless you're able to be in that no emotion, pure analysis, based on fact and based on what the information in front of you. If you don't have that, then you don't work well as a team member. So, they're really wonderful. The communication on the panel versus off the panel is completely individual personalities off the panel. But on the panel, they're one way.
And from my understanding, Ted, I've never gone for the technical panel exam, but my understanding is that it is really quite stressful. It's a really high standard of expectation for any technical panel member to pass that exam in Frankfurt. It is intense.
I've been involved in those things for a number of years early on. The stress level of them pacing up and down the hallway before they go into the room and put the headset on, of working with somebody they only just met, right? And to analyze and how are they going to be analyzed. So the stress level was just immense. And when you get through that process, you have what it takes to sit on the panel at a championship or a competition like this. So they're remarkable people in their own way, and it's really fascinating. I mean, we're glad to talk about it, and we're glad that the ISU is opening this up a little bit for people to understand more and perhaps hear in the future.
And it's interesting to note that whilst we watch the Swiss team on the ice now, these ice dance teams are, I assume many of them, if not indeed all of them, aspiring to continue on in the sport toward Olympic Games. for the technical panel members, they too have to officiate enough events of a certain caliber before they then can be put into that mix for themselves to be officials at the most prestigious of all competitions.
And they themselves are analyzed. These people analyze skating, but they themselves are being analyzed. So there's just a huge layer of checks and balances along the way here. As we start group number 3, day number 2, lots of numbers here. The first event of this day. And of course, we have the pairs free program coming up after this event, and the day will finish with the women's free program a little bit later tonight. Here we go, representing the United States of America, 18-year-old Jasmine Robertson and 17-year-old Chase Rohner.
Two very fascinating and accomplished young people. Some great backstories which we'll fill you in on at the end of their performance. But for now, skating to groove is in the heart and 100% pure love. Jasmine Robertson and Chase Rohner from the United States of America complete their first Junior Grand Prix. And a clean skate, and kudos to the team because they trained with the other American team who performed earlier on, who had mistakes and had a challenging performance. So it's good to know that they were able to zone in on their own requirements. And although little mistakes were made in the twizzles, nothing disastrous. And as I said, fascinating backstory. Chase is a triplet, and he was born 11 weeks premature, born with lung hemorrhaging. And his triplet brother Cole had to have 13 brain surgeries. But now his brother competes in adaptive showcase skating, and his sister triplet competes internationally in para-equestrian dressage. We're dealing with amazing young humans. And here we look at their rumba. And there was a difficult entry into the twizzle. Just separating a little bit further than they would have liked, which will impact the grade of execution. But then you can see Chase having to work hard, just missing the last rotation, and that will be under review whether or not that break in the rotation happened. I think after 2 rotations, thus it can be at most a level 2. And here, opportunity to see the non-touch. Now they should only be 2 arms length distance apart at most. And I think Mr. Barton is ready to tell us.
No,
what is
it's really interesting. The panel going through the twizzles, of course, they're looking at the man's arms, whether they were consistently moving.
Okay.
And that was determined that there was a no on that. There, also, there was a checked 3 and a foot down.
Okay.
Which lowered the levels, I think, down to 1 actually for him. We'll take a look at that. Twizzle it is for the man 1. See?
So that's great. And so the twizzles require Group A, Group B, and Group C features, and the Group A is the arms. And so there are different options for the skaters to pick when they go for the level. And that one, the arms must be constantly moving. If there's a break in that,
and there was,
they don't get that feature.
Yeah. And that's so cool because you go, oh, I get it.
Now I understand why there's a level 1.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. Your analysis was pretty good, but theirs is awesome.
Yeah.
No, just
I'll
kidding.
take it. I'll take it.
No, it's very actually quite often you guys are talking about the same thing at the same time.
Amazing.
A little hard to concentrate. But.
And that's the thing, you know, for Jasmine and Chase, I mean, they've got great coaching staff, so they're going to get brilliant information. But for them, this event will give them so much feedback from the technical panel as well as the judges.
Yeah, totally. Let's take a look at the scores in the rhythm dance. 56.91 for Jasmine and Chase. That'll put them currently into first place with some points left on the table. So
yes,
that's good.
There's more to come.
Yeah. Our next team represents Canada. 19-year-old Leila Veillon and 20-year-old Alexander Brandys. 4th Junior Grand Prix season, earning a bronze and 6th place last year in the Junior Grand Prix. They're coached by Olympic champion Scott Moyer and his team in London, Ontario.
Wonderful to see Leila reacting there. So pleased with the performance. A team that has been together for 11 seasons at Alma Mater, coupling them up over a decade ago, and you can see then in this performance a team that obviously have so much more comfort with one another, and thus the team have been able to give them more intricacy and difficulty in the choreography. So from a composition perspective, this will be, I think, a different league to anything that we've seen thus far. And fun to see the dance breaks throughout, trying to give to the judging panel the essence of the 1990s. That's what the Ice Dance Tech Committee want to see. So I find that such a difficult entry, landing that jump forward before pushing into the right forward inside twizzle. So we see their forward outside rocker, difficult turn within the step sequence, then pushing into forward inside counter. And then you might find that the outside mohawk is placed away from the technical panel. That and the bracket, I think, probably the two most difficult turns to ever get called clean if they want to assume the highest levels within this element. Before concluding with their rotational lift. And here we're seeing different choice of movement. Again, you see the couples timed together in their ability to attempt more intricate choreography and difficult, complex transitions, as showcased here by the end of the program.
Now, lots of discussion on the technical panel about the retrogression, the turns on the retrogression. What's the difference between that?
So when we look at the hellos out from the Kiss and Cry, there is allowed to be some semblance of retrogression on the outgoing edges or the ingoing edges of the difficult turns, but there can't be inordinate amounts of defined. Whoa.
64.16, a good score for Leila and Alexander from Canada. That'll put them currently into first place.
Happy days. And they've been hovering around the podium. They've had one podium placement in the Junior Grand Prix, but they'll be wanting a win here, I think.
Looking good at the moment. Next team representing Switzerland, 17-year-old Serena Tscharner and 19-year-old Lauren Wiederkehr.
And their rhythm dance theme is technology, specifically the internet boom and the very first SMS text. Serena Tscharner and Larine Wiederkehr from Switzerland. And props have to go to the concept behind this from coach Elissa Besseguier. The concept, the way in which she and the team have embraced this 1990s rhythm. So, as I said before the start of the performance, the theme is technology, specifically the internet boom and the very first SMS from a computer to a cell phone. The costume feature cables, and the music even incorporates text sounds. Now, the costumes are fabulous. The music was orchestrated, as is often the case, with an acknowledgement of the theme, and it, you know, so many little nuances within the choreography that were unique, clever, and really taking conceptualizing the 1990s theme choice. That said, technically they struggled a little bit. Some of the levels will be lower than they were hoping for as we look back at the twizzles. Here we see the quick step. The quick step must be done as the second of the two pattern dances on the side of the ring away from the judges. And here, little key points. This is great. Straight line left. Now, I know Alyssa in the past for other teams has created unique movement, and this adds to that. Memorable. And that should enhance the grade of execution. Judges looking for creativity as one of the positive features for good grade of execution. As we look now at the non-touch step sequence, a diagonal. And here, this is where they will be perhaps a little disappointed because the level assigned to both, well, actually it's a base currently under review for Serena. Here, the Philippe Candeloro double knee spin. Really cool use of movement choice. Couples allowed to touch the ice in that element as they're joined by Alyssa. But for me, whilst this will not score as well as others, it has created some of the greatest picture moments that we've seen of the
nice
event.
And clear and clean. Yeah. Rhythm dance score 47.03 for Serena and Lauren. That'll put them currently into 6th place. Our next team represents Estonia. 16-year-old Xenia Sipunova and 23-year-old, they're both 16, pardon me, Miran Korjagin.
And they will skate to Rhythm is a Dancer and Beautiful Life. Xenia, Sipunova and Miron Korjagin representing Estonia, and another team that unfortunately falls victim to the risky twizzle element. And it's interesting because Miron had explained that he graduated school this summer, and at first it felt like freedom, but now he feels a little lost without the same structure that he's had over the past 12 years. And I think that something that will of course be playing into the lives of these athletes as they graduate from high school and head towards that next junction in their life, whether or not that be full-time training or university or work indeed. So understandable there's a little bit of dismay as to the life path to undertake as we look back at the performance. And here this team choosing to do a curve lift. We've seen, I think, only rotational lifts from all the teams thus far, but there is an option to do curve lift or straight line lifts as an option, and you can see the 1 foot dismount from Miron is a level feature. Well recovered to be able to get the right forward outside second twizzle from Miron. Here, an uncalled choreographic spinning movement as transitional work. We just see a little bit of a lack of finesse, just needing to clean and refine the movement.
I think they're a little bit, shattered a bit from that mistake. And
Yeah.
so it was tighten up a little bit.
And of course, so you can see they're both in that look, so aware of the impact and the consequences of mistakes that are made, unfortunately. But free dance to come. The ice dance free dance takes place tomorrow. It's the last event of all the events at the Junior Grand Prix here in Riga. As you see, Miron just analysing what happened. And they've worked hard through the off-season. They've trained in Oberstdorf, in Germany, Tallinn in Estonia, and now they're here in Latvia. They are committed to their development as a team, and it's just a little stumbling block.
We often talk about, or we always talk about, the mileage that's required to gain that type of experience through all the little things that you don't expect to happen. Don't happen in practice, but they do happen in competition. And this is an example here today for a number of the teams with little odd mistakes that they probably don't make at all or rarely in practice.
And we've talked also previously in other events about how sometimes mistakes made, it's like a little bit of an illness that is caught in the changing room as the next group of skaters come out to the ice, and the same disease has inhabited the performances of the next
a certain
skater.
certain vibe in the building, and it can be positive or negative. So wait for the scores. There were 3 elements under review. And the technical panel can change speeds on their video replay, look at things in slow motion, make sure of the clarity of what they're looking for, the cleanliness of the turns or whatever. 33.43 for Xenia and Miron, and that'll put them currently into 12th place.
Good luck for the free tomorrow. Let's hope they have a great skate.
Final group taking to the ice for the warm-up. Mark, what's on your list?
Oh, questions have been coming in.
Rolling
Let me bring up some of the excitement that we've had. So, question coming in to us. How long does it take, I think I touched on this in the previous warm-up group, how long does it take us to read and learn all of the new ice dance rules each season? And as I said, there are so many details, and the criteria that the technical panels, the judges, the coaches that we all have clearly laid out in ISU communications are somewhat built upon over seasons. So with every passing season there are additions, amendments or changes, but now to anybody completely fresh and new to this, it would seem somewhat overwhelming. If honesty is the best policy this season, I haven't choreographed a rhythm dance or a free dance this year, been busy with the other work, and actually then I'm mindful then that I read the rules, but I think it's a completely different entity when you are living it and choreographing and constructing programs. So I've done my due diligence in preparation for the commentary, and I've looked through and I've seen the changes and the amendments that have been made for this coming season. But for these skaters and these coaches who have been living it on the day-to-day and making sure that they are box checking and ticking all of the criteria, they will be so conscious and mindful of every possible consequence of what they construct in the composition for their score.
And how the panels view the requirements as well. So one of the things is, when we prepare for these competitions and commentary, there is so much information, particularly in ice dance. There's rabbit holes everywhere. You cannot walk across that field without stepping in a rabbit hole of commentary, because if you go too far down that rabbit hole of information, you cannot finish it. So people say, well, I still don't understand it. Like, where's the end of that? So you have to be pretty generic to a certain degree. You do such a great job because you speak quickly, right? to get a lot of information, accurate information in at one time. So it's, we have an audience of people that know nothing and an audience of people who know a lot. So, what do you say? How much do you go into? It's always a challenge, particularly in ice dance.
Yes, and I think that, as we touched on during the course of this competition already, is when mistakes are made, there are lots of sort of contingencies for the technical panel to consider when they dish out the level. These skaters now, we see the French team, they will be working on, the compulsory dance or the pattern dance section is different because everybody has to perform the same steps. But when it comes to the free choice of choreography for the step sequence, the diagonal or the midline or the twizzles, everybody will be endeavouring to have a level 4. The construction of their choreography will be with a 4 in mind. Mm-hmm. But then each step has to be assessed whether or not they're capable. It's not quite as easy to call as we would say perhaps a quad-salchow is. I think that's easier to see and recognise in the technical panel's delivery. It's immediate. We know if it's clean or not.
You're being very generous. Not quite as difficult. No, it's not as difficult. It isn't. It isn't. This is difficult. And that is why, if you listen to the technical panel, which hopefully people will be able to do in the future, and you hear the efficiency of 3 people and how they systematically work through every edge, every turn, every step, every arm movement, it's really incredible. We cannot do that because we're commentating in a more general way. So when you have that option, maybe a little bit more entertaining, or
we're trying to be.
I don't know.
Storytelling.
Just because we're silly. But when you listen to the technical panel, it's absolute analysis, and it's very, very cool. So looking forward to more on that, of course. So anyways, the point is, it's difficult to how much do you sort of reveal. Easier in singles and in pairs than it is in dance.
Yep. I'm glad you think that.
Okay, what's up next?
Ted and Mark's favorite pattern dance themes of all time. So we have seen now 70s, 80s, 90s underway. We've seen tangos and passos and waltzes, and I think it's interesting. Every year, the teams and the skaters and the coaches wait to hear what the Ice Dance Technical Committee will decide.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have been very happy with this 90s choice.
It is, because it's a little bit more... It's a lot more modern and not so ugly as the 70s, which is what I talk about. So it's a little bit in between the old days and not currently in the 2000s, but it's sort of picking up energy. And it's interesting. I don't know if you see this, if you get this at home. Your kids sort of rediscover the music that you used to listen to and say, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right? So even though it's a long time ago, it becomes relevant in today's world. And that's what we're seeing in some cases with some of these teams.
And it's important to note that not only is the music to be chosen from the 90s, but a required characteristic is that it's high energy and crowd pleasing. Mm-hmm. So that, the Ice Dance Technical Committee know they've got an Olympic audience. They have potentially an audience that is beyond the scope of our normal skating community, and making material that is high energy and crowd pleasing will hopefully keep that audience for the subsequent Olympic cycle and beyond.
Okay. We only had 2 questions because we battled on, so we didn't get too much done here. Our next team on the ice, first team out in the final group from France, Mouaden and Theo Bigot.
And this, one of the teams who I think is certainly in line for medal contention. Skating to groove is in the heart and going to make you sweat.
Okay, that was pretty cool.
That was really cool. Daniel Mouaden and Theo Bigot from France. And interestingly, Ted, when I saw them in practice this morning, I was watching when they were practicing, not in their run-through, so the music wasn't on. And there were some of the sections that didn't engage with me, but when the music came on, the synonymity of their movement to the music just brought it to life. And
yeah, that energy level, good choreography, lots of transitions in this program.
Barbara Piton, the coach. And we saw them off the ice, and they were just dancing off the ice. I don't know if they were doing like a TikTok or something, but they just seemed to be having a good time together, and they've been together for such a long time, and it's great to see how much fun that they still have as friends. And this is not difficult choreography. What they've just shown on this slow-mo, this is difficult. The worm, that's difficult and really cool. But some of the choreography that was relatively simple just brought to life by the energy which they gave to it and the musicality of it person.
Very quick twizzles.
Oh, so
really fast. We'll see that in a moment. Here they are.
And doing the difficult entry into the second twizzle with a loop jump, rotating clockwise. Most skaters comfortable to rotate anti-clockwise. Them doing that jump feature.
Plus 1.37 GOE added to the base score of that. Here's we see the stationary lift right at the end of the program. Great energy all the way through. They have a 62.21 is their personal best. Running that last season, they may beat that here with this program. And some people are skaters who are ice dancing, and some people are just dancers who are ice dancing. And I think they're dancers, like they're dancers in life. Yeah, just their joyful moments is dancing, right, off the ice.
And this team, they've said that one of their main goals is to qualify for the Junior Grand Prix final, so they're wanting a top 6.
Well, a 64.35 score, and that will put this team currently into first place. Big smiles. Yeah, a little fist pump there. All right, awesome. They are excited.
I love that.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Our next team represents Austria. Brother and sister team of Anita and Andreas Straub.
And a seasoned team on the Junior Grand Prix, Anita and Andreas. And they too will be hoping to put themselves in the mix for medals here. Anita and Andreas Straub from Austria, the brother and sister team. And interestingly, discussion with Andreas yesterday explained that whilst he's studying hard, he has taken a slight sabbatical, took 2 or 3 weeks perhaps, and I feel like maybe that is the reason that they have come here and delivered so cleanly. We've seen them in the past just struggling through some of their performances, this more consistent at this earlier stage in the season. That said, again, in light of the fact that we have the opportunity to hear from the technical panel, their score is going to be hampered a little bit by lower levels. And for me, Andreas cuts an amazing physique on the ice, tall and strong, but just the knees and the ankles needing to deepen a little bit to facilitate those better level features in the steps and in the pattern dances. As we look back here, chance to just get to see the knee and the ankle, how deep the edges can be pressed on these difficult turns to enhance the level. Here, back Choctaw, so that was pretty good. One of the technical panel members will look at Andreas, one Anita, as we look to the twizzles. And just, I think, a little pirouette on the last rotation of the twizzle for Andreas, which will drop a level. Here, Choctaw, and not quite enough cleanliness and depth of edge on the right back outside edge. Not a million miles away. They're a strong team. They look refined, look together, they look organised. Just this will give them the feedback that they want to return to the training base, be able to enhance those levels, and that will give a seismic boost to the score, for which they are very, very capable.
Yeah, I think particularly in ice dance, listening to the technical panels, now I understand there actually are, because the sport has always been thought of, well, how is it judged? Like, how does it look? Because it looks pretty, it looks great, it's entertaining. They all look not the same, but they're all entertaining, they're all great. But how is that broken down? You hear about that time. But you do a good job at this, right off the bat. And
to be totally honest, sometimes the technical panels can have a higher litmus for what they require than in other events.
52.19 for Anita and Andreas, and that'll put them currently into 5th place. Good team, losing some points, leaving some points on the table technically.
Yeah, they'll find out in due course.
Our next team represents Finland, Iris Lahti and Askari Liedpohja. Iris 15, Askari 19. We do not have a lot of competition records, so assuming relatively new team.
Yeah, and they did actually just compete in Finland on Monday. There was a junior event in Finland, and they were second of those 4 teams. Now skating to rhythm is a dancer and Mr. Veillon. Iris Lahti and Oskari Liedpohja representing Finland, another team so new in their partnership. Iris actually competed in ISU solo dance competitions before partnering up with Oskari. He previously skated with his former partner Inakesti for nearly 10 years, so both bringing different strengths to this. And Coach Neil Brown had explained that one of their goals will be the Junior World Championship minimum technical element score, and that will be what will facilitate their potential entry into Junior Worlds next year. And that's a 71 points that need to be accrued just from the technical element score over the course of this rhythm dance and free dance. So what the technical panel think, which you're listening to now, Ted, will be very important for this team, with that being one of their biggest focuses, as we see the jump entry, that a Group C feature, into their first twizzle, and here their second. And actually a level 4 assigned to both. The distance between the partnership, that will impact the grade of execution, as we see some transitional content into their curved lift, and he in a difficult position, the spread eagle, that be his way of attaining some levels, and you'll see him moving on to one leg before the dismount of Iris to achieve another level. And here their midline step sequence, they're one of the difficult turns, the twizzle, and here chance to stop. As I say, 5 seconds they're allowed to stop for, and that's the real obvious opportunity for them to try to express this 90s energy before then going on to doing back choctaws and brackets, which are a little bit harder to give 90s energy to when you're focusing on what your foot placement is. And they're joined by Coach Neil Brown. He's working so hard in developing Finnish ice dance. And interesting, Neil also coaches Finland's first same-sex couple, Emma and Millie, who will compete, I think, in the Finnish Junior Championships, and that's cool to hear as well.
Rhythm dance scores, 46.37 for Iris and Oskari. That'll put them currently in the 9th place.
And that a higher score than they had on Monday in a domestic event, so progress made within the week.
Yeah, smiles and kiss cry, some high fives as well. As we complete the rhythm dance here, overall impression, Mark?
Just great fun. I think the music, it was interesting for us to see our wonderful team here in the office, all entertained by the music choice. So I think that's the takeaway, and good to see Dania and Theo leading the field with a performance that I think puts them certainly in contention, not just for the title, but again the Junior Grand Prix final.
Very, very close, 64 and 64 for the top two teams, so it's essentially tied. That completes a conclusion of the rhythm dance. Up next will be the pairs free program that'll start at 14:20 local time here in Riga. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage of the rhythm dance, day number 2, event number 1. Stay with us. We'll be back with the pairs free.